Hi, my name is Daniel and I am the CEO of Madsheets. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use your expense tracker to its fullest. So as soon as you purchase the expense tracker, you'll receive an email with the link to the expense tracker. When you click on that link, it will take you to your own expense tracker. The first tab that you'll see is the Welcome tab, in which you'll have a link to this video, your name and your email address. The next tab in the file is called the Settings tab. This tab is where you will set your yearly savings goals on the top. For this example video, I'm going to set a yearly saving goal of $10,000. On the left hand side, we have categories that we can define. You'll first give it a name, then a monthly budget, and give it a type. You can also add incomes to the same table. On the right hand side, we have space to define recurring expenses, where you can write down all your recurring monthly expenses. On the bottom right hand side, we have the notification settings. In this area, you can set up notifications that you would like to receive regarding the expense tracker. We have three different options. You can receive notifications whenever the budget on a specific category is exceeded for the month. You can receive notifications for a monthly report, or you can receive the reminder to use this expense tracker if there are a certain days of inactivity. You can also edit the number of days that you should be reminded after. To use these extra features, you need to install the expense tracker. Now, it's not mandatory to use these notifications, but these will give you a better experience with the expense tracker. And not only that, if you install this expense tracker, all these recurring expenses will be added to your transactions list every month in the start automatically, so you don't have to type them in. To install the expense tracker, go to the top, click on Install in this menu. It will ask you to provide authorizations, which is a normal Google Sheet procedure whenever there's an external script that you want to run. You have to follow these steps and you should be good to go. Once you have followed all these steps, you have to click on Install again. You have to wait for the script to say finished. And now you can edit your settings here anytime you want. If you want to uninstall this expense tracker, you just need to click on uninstall and it will do the job. The authorizations that you provide this are only for the first time that you're using any of these functions. The next sheet in this file is called the transactions sheet. In the transactions sheet, you will add all your transactions. You'll first add the date, the description, the category that the transaction belongs to, and the amount. This list of categories automatically fill from the list of categories that you have defined over here. Same goes for the category column over here in the recurring expenses section. If you forget to enter the date or the category in the transaction sheet, the cells will change color to notify you that you need to add these items. To add a date, you simply need to double click the cell and select the date for the transaction. Then for the category, you have to select what category the transaction belongs to. Once you install the expense tracker, it has an inbuilt feature which will automatically reorganize the transaction sheet once a day. When you're using spreadsheets, it's difficult to scroll down to add more data. So what we have done with this automation is that every day the sheet reorganizes itself and creates empty rows on the top. You can also do this action manually by clicking on expense tracker, transactions, create empty space on top. Once you do that, the sheet will reorganize itself, making empty rows available to you on the top to enter more data, while reorganizing everything chronologically with the latest transactions first. The next sheet in the system is called the current month view. This is a dashboard where you can see all your transactions for your current month shown in a beautiful dashboard. You can first see all your expenses by category and also see the status of spent versus budget. You have a bar chart which changes colors when you get too close to your set budget. You can also see what you spent and what's remaining out of the budget for each of your categories. Then you can see top 3 expenditures for the month and top 3 spendings in terms of categories. And lastly, you have a chart which shows you every day's individual spendings broken down by categories within the same bar. If you hover on the bar, you will also see the values for each of those categories. The next sheet is called monthly expense comparison. This sheet is built so that when you have enough data, you can compare 2 different months and see how your spending trends change over those months. You can begin by selecting a particular month in this dropdown over here and then another one over here. Since in our sheet we don't have data for different months right now, we only have the option to select September 2022. Lastly, we have the yearly analysis. And the yearly analysis sheet shows you a year at a time. And to select the year, you can use this dropdown on the right hand side. This also gives you a status bar of your savings goal that is achieved on the top. Then you have a graph of all your income and expenses over months. You have expenses by category for the whole year. And lastly, you have expenses per month broken down into categories. If you have any trouble with the expense tracker, you can go to expense tracker feedback. And this will open up a form on the right hand side, which you can fill up with your name, email address, your suggestions, and your feedback when you face any issues, and then submit it. And we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for choosing this expense tracker. We hope it helps you manage your budgets and to achieve your savings goal.